Welcome to episode 3 of the Health Chats podcast. My name is Kelsey, your host, and today's guest is one of my best friends, Marie Nunziata. Marie is the founder and CEO of Inside Out Total Wellness. It is a boutique gym and wellness studio here locally in downtown Calgary. Marie is a fitness coach, a nutrition coach. She is a business owner, entrepreneur. She wears so many hats. And in this conversation, we break down some of the challenges within business, but also the mindset and resilience that it took for her to build her business. We also have tangible techniques on incorporating wellness into your life, some of the struggles that both her and I share in our own wellness, and how we met and how we became such good friends. I think you're going to love this episode just as I loved recording it. So let's dive right in. Thank you for being on the Health Chats podcast, episode 3. I feel very honored to have time with one of my best friends and also business owner, entrepreneur, woman, personal trainer. She wears so many hats. Marie Nunziata, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me. So excited.
Me too.
We might be doing some random dance breaks in between, some burpees, just to keep the body moving.
It's on brand for us to do little random
we can't sit still. Like we are constantly moving around. So we'll see how long this lasts.
Yeah, could be a 5-minute conversation, but we'll see. We're gonna dive into just like some business chats. We're gonna talk about health. Marie has an amazing journey that I want her to be able to share with the world, because again, the whole world listens to this, or one day they will.
They better be listening.
So let's start with Inside Out. Yes. A little bit. She's wearing the sweater.
This is like the OG sweater. This is like 4.5 years old. So I'm like, I gotta pull it out today.
I love it.
One of the originals.
I think, the same one, or I have it somewhere, but in black.
Well, you better pull it out. I can't believe you didn't wear it today.
I know. You could deck me out in Inside Out gear. You guys slowly have. You've given me things over the years, which I love, and
it's pretty cute. You gotta like purple though.
But. Yeah, I am not yet a purple stan, but maybe one day.
Have you read the book Purple Murple?
Purple Murple?
I think that's what it's called.
Or Nurple?
Nurple, Murple. I as a child, my mom actually gave the book to me because she used to read it to me all the time when I was a little girl, and she's like, I think that's how I conditioned you to like purple so much. Because I'll give you the book. Okay. I swear it was called like Purple Murple or something.
Is it a monster?
No, it's like a little girl who lives in a purple world.
Oh, cute. Okay, yeah, that's why.
Could be.
That's why I'm purple obsessed. Exactly. Okay, purple's very important. If you haven't been to Inside Out yet, it is like a full purple house. Like
the upstairs.
If you're scared of purple, don't go there. But it's
face your fears and go there.
True, you could do that. That is something.
Expose yourself.
I agree. Exposure therapy. But I want to know, how did you start, and like what inspired you
to start Inside
Out? Yeah.
I've always loved helping people. It's just something like I've known from like a young age that I am a helper, and that is what I'm meant to do. And I was kind of like reflecting on it. I was laughing because like at 10 years old, some of you may remember the show on TLC called What Not to Wear.
Oh my God, yes.
So like 10-year-old me, I had to watch every single episode, and it wasn't like, so I loved like the part obviously where they're like the beauty and like the new wardrobe and all that. But the part that like I loved the most was the end, when you just saw this like mental shift in the person and this like mindset change about how they felt about themselves. And I was like 10, and like I could not wait for the ending. And I've always just loved watching people's transformations, like positive change from such a young age. Like one of my other favorite shows is Queer Eye. And I don't know, there's something about transformation that like inspires me and excites me. So like I was like, I want to help transform people. So from a young age, that was like my favorite show. I was like, hey, this is like what I want to do, is help people transform their lives, whatever that looks like. I didn't really plan Inside Out, like starting, which is so weird because I'm such a planner, but it wasn't like me behind the scenes planning the business. Honestly, it kind of just happened. And it's pretty crazy because it actually grew out of, or like started in the pandemic, which I feel like it's cool because obviously there were so many challenges that came out of the pandemic, but I think there were so many beautiful things that grew out of the pandemic as well. And I think a lot of us might have like blacked it out. Like now we think about it and we laugh because we're like, did that happen? Like, was that real?
Honestly, it's funny. It's tangent off of that. I was writing birthday cards or like big event cards for people, and I was still putting 2020. Like, I hope you have an amazing 2020. And then I had to stop myself.
Like,
this happened multiple times.
Yes.
Where I was like, we're in like 2023 or like 2025 now.
It was like time stopped.
Yeah, it absolutely stopped time. And that was a random tangent, but I want to touch on like the what not to wear in Queer Eye.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're just, often I look at Marie and I'm like, you're a mirror to me. Like there's so many things we have in common and so many similarities. I was obsessed with those shows too. So I love them. And I remember watching them like on repeat. And I was like, I want to see the end. Like, how do they come
The journey was
like,
amazing, but it was that end piece.
Yeah. And it was always like the tears. And when they look in the mirror and they look at their closets.
I'm getting like feelings right now.
I know, me too. But seeing that, I was like, wow, like transformation is so possible. And let's just keep going. Keep going, keep chatting.
I love it. I was like, hopefully I'm not too old, and you're like, what's one not to wear? So I'm glad you know. me and the third floor now, feeling older, but still but wise, right? Wiser.
Very wise.
Okay, so yeah, pandemic had just started. It was 2020, as Kelsea was saying. And I had just graduated from my social work degree at the time. So kind of just to give a little bit of background information, where I met Kelsea. So I'd done my nutrition and lifestyle certificate at State, and that's where I met this beautiful woman, which was so cool that we like got to reconnect, and that's how we initially met each other. So nutrition, and then I was also teaching fitness classes. So at that time, my like full-time thing was group fitness. And then I was looking for a job in the social work field at the time. And either like I was going for interviews, I either just didn't feel aligned, like something wasn't right, or I just wouldn't get the job. And I was specifically looking for a job in health and wellness. And just at the time, there was just nothing. In the midst of looking for jobs, in the back of my mind, it was really weird, but we don't have it anymore. But like on the old laptops, you'll see like the power button, and that's the Inside Out logo right now. And I remember looking at it and I'm like, power to change. And it was before even Inside Out Total Wellness came to me. It was like the power to change, and then thinking of that as a logo, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I remember it was like weeks and weeks of like that being on my mind, and I'm like, starting a business, but then I would push it away because fears crept in, and I was like, I'm not going to start a business. Like, I'm finished my degree, I gotta go get a job now and, you know, do what I'm supposed to do, like society tells us to do. So long story short, that was kind of in the back of my mind, that idea, but I didn't really like address it, I guess, per se. But COVID happened. I was teaching fitness downtown. I remember it was a spin class. I was teaching a corporate class, and then we got out of it and they're like, we're closing. We're shut for 2 weeks. Do you remember that? It was a 2-week shutdown.
Oh, yeah.
And we all thought we were all like kind of like, what? Like, what's going on? But we thought it was also kind of like, we'll see you in 2 weeks, like whatever kind of thing.
I was
like,
also working in a gym at the same time.
Good life.
And I was good life, GLF. And yeah, I remember it was like Friday the 13th or something. It was like March 13th.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course it's this day. And they're like, yeah, just 2 weeks, like go home. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a nice break.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's what we were thinking. It's going to be a good holiday.
They're like, honestly, like perfect timing. Like New Year's just came in. It was like really busy season. And I think I actually had just come back from like a mental health leave actually.
Okay.
So I came back and they were like, peace out for another 2 weeks. And I was like, perfect. I'm actually not well enough to be back here yet.
The universe knows.
And then that 2 weeks turned into months and months.
Years.
And years.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like being laid off multiple times. What was that experience for you?
So what, like, kind of going back to that, like, that was their 2 week thing. So same thing, I was like, whoa, I get to take a break. Like, I've been teaching like 8 fitness classes a day. My body was in so much need for that like relaxation and that recovery. But within a week, this was like a week into it, I was starting to go stir crazy because I'm with people all day long, moving our bodies, like just around so much energy. So like after a week, I was like, okay, like I am starting to actually feel this, like being at home and not going out to a gym or like seeing people. And then that was when we were told after that, like, just kidding, this 2 weeks is now a longer period. We don't really know. It was that like uncertain time.
Unknown.
So during that time, I like was teaching some Zoom and online, and that's actually where I learned online is just not for me. I love the person connection. But I remember it was a few weeks into like not being able to go back, and I texted some of my really close friends who now, and so there's 3 of us, and I was like, hey, do you want to go meet outside and I'll run a boot camp for us, because I need to see some people and I need to move our body. We went and we met at an outdoor parking lot, and it was like I think April now at this time, and you know how Calgary is, it's snowy, rainy, whatever, like crazy weather. So it was like a covered outdoor parking lot, and it was like dark, and it was the 3 of us, and I brought our mats and little dumbbells, and we're like so cold, freezing cold. But it was so fun. It was the most fun I had in like 3 weeks. We were laughing, being silly, moving our body. Like it was a blast. I had my like little speaker. We ended up meeting multiple times a week because we're like, this felt so good. And I looked forward to every single session because it was just something to look forward to.
Low-key breaking the law too.
Excuse me, they didn't say we couldn't be outside.
We weren't allowed to be within, remember, 6 feet.
We distanced,
6 feet.
They're gonna come arrest me. We distanced our mats properly with dumbbells in between.
I'm sure if you're listening to this, you are also of the same mindset of like, pandemic.
How dare we go move our bodies? Yeah. That is so bad.
Like, seriously, so silly. But.
So yeah, anyways, long story short, which I probably shouldn't be telling people, we then ended up, the time kept increasing, gyms were shut. It was kind of like this back and forth. It was very like uncertain, this inconsistency of things closing, going back home. You remember that. But this outdoor boot camp grew from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20. And then we were like approaching like June. It was nicer weather, July. And there was a lot of people in this outdoor boot camp. And we ended up going out to like an actual outdoor parking lot. We kept our space, don't worry. None of us are dead. We're all still alive and healthy. So that was kind of where that started, and I didn't even plan it. It just kind of happened, and this community grew, and that was like the beginning of Inside Out. And from there, when the weather started getting colder again, I was like, what do I do? Like, I'm not going to be outside. I know there's people who love working out at -30, but just not my thing. So that was when I kind of started like doing the planning piece of like, what do I do now? And I decided to like go more into like personal training, taking clients one-on-one, small groups. I rented a space where I could like bring people indoors. At that time, like things were opening again, or like online too, like online nutrition and coaching and like fitness, where I make people programs. So it kind of grew out of that, and then those people came with me. So that's how it started. Physical space, like our physical location, I did that for a couple years. Christian, who is my partner.
Before you even get there though, I want to say like a few things I want to touch on. So we went to school, we met in nutrition school together back in 2016. That's when we graduated. Healthy. Yeah, it's been almost 10 years.
That's crazy.
Since then, which
is babies.
Nuts to think about. But we kind of like, I was shy girl back then. I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone. And I was just there for like the certification and the knowledge and nothing outside of that. But it's cool that Inside Out started from boot camps, outdoor boot camps, because how we reconnected again was I saw you were doing outdoor boot camps.
Yes.
And you had already, I think, or you were about to open the space. But I was like, hey, I love what you're doing. You got a nice peach.
I was going to say, I clearly remember it. I was in Vancouver and I got a message from you, and you're like, asking, can we do a workout together? Like, how did you get your butt like that?
Literally.
And I was like, ooh, Kelsea, hello.
I was
in my
like,
DMs.
I slid into her DMs. I was like, you have a nice ass. How do we work out together?
Christian's like, who are you messaging? I'm like, doesn't matter.
It's like peach emoji. Peach emoji.
Yeah, and that was so fun that we reconnected like that and went and did a workout together at Good Life.
We went and worked out at Good Life. But then I pieced out, I went traveling for like however many months and came back, and I remember us connecting again was at an outdoor boot camp. I came to one in that one parking lot that's like over here somewhere. And I remember after that meeting again, and you're like telling me your vision, and you're like, we're looking at spaces. And I was like, oh my God, tell me when you get your space. Like, I'll be there. And so let's talk about that. How did Christian, who's Christian, for people who don't know?
Christian's a silly guy. You should meet him if you haven't. He is not only my business partner, but I guess partner in life. So yeah, I get the beautiful opportunity of working with my partner. When Christian and I had met, he really saw my passion for the business and my love for helping people and like what I had grown so far. And he kind of planted the seed of like, you should get a physical space. And then me being like, no way. My brother at the time had owned a gym in Vancouver. I knew how hard having like an actual physical space was, how expensive it was. And fears crept in. I was like, no, like I do not want to do that. But then I kind of sat on it more and I was like thinking about it. I was like, you know what the heck, let's just go look at spaces. So we started looking around Calgary, like different places that were for lease. And I remember the first time sitting down, they told us how much it was. And I was like, oh my God, like holy moly, like that's crazy. Like I can't even imagine paying that. So kind of funny, like, you know, that like the thoughts around the mindset around like money.
It's so different.
When so different now.
When you've never invested like big money into yourself and your business like that, you hear numbers and they could be like, I don't know, throw out a random number, say it's like $3,000, $5,000, $8,000. You hear that and you're like, suddenly I don't know if I can do this.
Fears creep in for sure. And you're like, whoa, but I'm like, you know what? My partner believes in me so much. Like I need to believe in myself. And I did, but I think it's also just natural to have those fears. But when I really realized, I was like, okay, I do want to have a physical location, is the one space we were looking at fell through, like it just didn't work out. And I was really sad. It was a couple of weeks and I felt sad. And I was like, you know what? I think I actually do want this. And then I just felt more excitement. And our actual space now it was a weird way it happened. I'm not going to get into the whole story, but like we ended up finding the space that we're in now. And it was kind of funny because where I used to teach out of, that was like the route I would pass every day. Yeah. And I drove past this building every day and I had no idea it existed. Isn't it crazy how you can like go through the same like path every day but not notice the things around you?
Yeah.
So now I really try to like be aware of things around me, like look, and you know what I mean? Not be so like focused.
Well, and I love this because you have this on a little sign inside out. I think it's in the change room or the bathroom. It says what you focus on grows. Right?
Yeah.
And if you're not focused on that, or if you are, you might realize, wow, this is right beside me. This is like literally in my path.
100%. Yeah. And I think it's cool to like put that out there. Like you never know, like someone beside you or something around in your surroundings and your environment you might actually see it coming around. But so if you just take a moment to sit down and look around you, like you never know like who you could meet or like what could happen. So, but I just thought it was funny because it was like 2 years of driving past this building and now that's where Inside Out's home is. So we got the physical space and we're almost 3 years into that space and we just opened an upstairs level. To my sin, which is crazy. So that's a whole other thing. But here we are.
That's the journey.
That's been the journey so far. I mean, little bits and pieces I haven't thrown in, but I don't want to spend 5 hours talking about everything.
No, it's been an awesome journey, and I guess been there for the last like 2.5, 3 years, which has been honestly such an honor just to like be so connected with you guys and like watch you grow as a couple, but also as a business and like in the community. You're one of my biggest inspirations.
You've seen it all, and
I've seen everything.
I feel like you've been there since day one, and your support, and I think like seeing the transformation and the change and the struggles we've gone through, and like just having you there as like a support and cheering us on has been so huge, and just like making me emotional. But it's like those people, it's so important to have someone like you like in that journey, like that support, right? And just laughing. How many days were like, today sucks, and that's me being dramatic, but I'm like, but we would just laugh, or we go for a walk and scream off bridges, and make noises and jump around like crazy.
Just, like, literally zoom out of what sometimes feels so serious. And while it's serious, there's levels of seriousness, but also that's not everything in life. Like life is supposed to be both, and I think we balance each other in that way too, by letting ourselves cry and also laugh.
At the same time.
In the same 5
tears
seconds.
And laughter all at once.
Yeah. So on that note, challenges. Like I want to hear challenges, and I'm sure other people do. Maybe there's people listening who have a vision of starting their own business, whether it's a gym or in the wellness space, maybe a yoga studio, maybe something totally different.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the challenges that maybe people don't talk about or you don't hear often in doing something like this?
So I mean, challenges. I feel like as a business owner, anyone can relate that like you're gonna have challenges pretty much almost, if not every week, every day. And I'm not saying they're gonna always be big, but little challenges. And I think these are the challenges you decide this is where you either grow and learn or you don't. Like those are the challenges where you either keep going or you don't. And I always hear in business, people are like, it gets easier. And I don't know if it necessarily gets easier if we just get smarter and stronger and more resilient, because I feel like as a business grows and gets bigger, I actually think more things come up. But you just have more things in your toolbox and you're more resilient to the challenges that come your way. If I had to pinpoint, I think one thing I still am working on and like was a big one at the beginning is separating business and life in terms of like, it's not a 9 to 5 job where you clock out. So when I would leave the studio, you know, I'd be there for say sometimes 10, 12 hours a day. I would still be bringing home business thoughts and work to my house. And I would bring it into relationships, so especially working with my partner, that's super tricky. Family, friends, like it would seep into every other area of my life. It would always be on my mind. So I started learning, and I'm still working on this, but like I visualize it as containers. So for example, I really try to never bring work into my bedroom, into my bed, because I used to like work on my laptop in my bed. That's where we sleep. That's where we're supposed to rest our mind and recover. So I think of it as a container of in my bedroom, we shut the lid and I can go back and open the lid later, but like I am not bringing work in here. And it's constantly like a reminder and thinking of it, but those containers help me where I'm like at this certain time, like on a Sunday, these hours, the lid is shut, I'm closing the lid. And yes, sometimes a thought will come up and that's fine, but I'm not actively like going on my laptop or going into the studio doing work related things. I'll say no to meeting people or talking about work because the lid is shut right now. So I think that's really challenging of like, how do you not bring the business into everything in your life?
Totally. And that's like the text I sent you when I was at that summit this week where, you know, we hear work-life balance, but as an entrepreneur, work is life.
Yes.
And so how do you find that balance? It's not really about, okay, work is this and life is this. It's more like, how much capacity am I giving to work and how much am I giving to life? And I think what maybe non-business owners or entrepreneurs don't entirely understand is sometimes that give to work is 16-hour days and we actually like it. And that's why we decided to do it. But I really like that kind of visual of like, this is my container and this is my other container. And
it's like those boundaries, right?
Yeah, setting boundaries in a way that it's almost like tangible, like you can visualize it, not that you're
I'm a visual person, so
yeah, and like super cool visuals are huge in like people who are successful in their life. Another tangent, the study I read, they did a two tests between people who were practicing basketball, so random, and one group, they actually went and they shot baskets every single day. The other group, they visualized it.
Okay.
And the group who visualized it actually shot more hoops when they went to go and practice in person.
Does this work for growing your butt?
Yeah.
So like we visualize like a big booty, like we don't even have to go to the gym.
It works.
It'll just grow overnight.
Life hack.
Okay. Just visualize it and it's gonna happen. A juicy peach. It's peach season, right? So
it is.
That's so funny. That makes sense.
Visual, I think a lot of successful owners, founders, entrepreneurs, they have a visual practice, whether that's like meditation or something like that. Do you, and move into another kind of, I guess, question, what is your practice as someone who gives so much wellness? You are literally the wellness queen for other people. How do you take care of your own wellness?
That's such a good question. I think it's also something I'm continually learning. I find it interesting, like, as a coach, like, people always like, you must know everything, you must have it figured out, like, you must have the perfect routine and the perfect habits, like, that people, I think, put you on this pedestal of, like, you're so healthy. Like, the other day I was eating, like, a cupcake with a client, they're like, you eat cupcakes? I'm like, heck yes, I eat cupcakes and donuts and ice cream, and I'm also human. And I think that's just like funny. That's like kind of a side note.
It's true though.
But what do I do for myself? So it's interesting because I just also feel like now with social media, we're so, I don't want to say bombarded, but we're so flooded with so much information of what we think we should be doing in terms of like health and wellness. And it can be really overwhelming. Like, what's the perfect bedtime routine? What's the perfect morning routine? A, B, C, D, D. I need to like mark all these things off to like feel good. And instead of really just listening and being in tune with our own bodies, we're listening to what everyone else around us is telling us and we're being flooded with. And then we're getting overwhelmed with that. And then we're like, why are we not feeling good? Mm-hmm. So, you know, meditation. And I'm saying like there's all these amazing tools and resources, but you have to figure out how to use it for yourself, not just because an influencer told you this is what you should be doing
at this
exact time. Yeah. So like I was like, oh my gosh, meditation is going to change my life. This was like a little while back. I'm like, I need to start meditating every day. And I even had it, you know, where I'm on my plans. I'm like, I'm going to check mark every day when I do my meditations. I'm going to just start with 5 minutes a day. And I just started getting more stressed out about it. Like, I don't know why, but I think just being like, I have to hit this. And because I was almost forcing it, it was like, I didn't want to be there. And I was actually feeling more anxious during the meditation. So I kind of like let go of that. And for me now, meditation, so I started noticing like where I really recharge is being outside, being in nature, even if it's cold out in Calgary, just bundle up, going for a walk and not having my screen with me and not always doing, like, it's so funny. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk, but I'm also going to be writing my grocery list and listening to an educational podcast at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think now because I'm always like, we're so overstimulated with things around us is like, just taking a break from all of that and just being there. So like putting my phone away, having nothing in my ears, like no sounds, listening to the birds, listening to the wind, whatever like the sounds are around me, and just taking that in is so beautiful and so recharging for me. And that's my meditation. So whether I'm sitting on a bench outside or just being alone and being, you know, not on my screen, is for me meditation. And I learned that, and it doesn't have to be how someone is telling you it should be and what it should look like. You know what it feels like when you do it. Do you feel more recharged? Do you feel better after you do that? That's a really important question to ask. So I know that didn't quite answer, but like, so for me, I try to get outside every day. Yeah. That's a big one, and move my body. And as a fitness coach, I used to think I was teaching multiple classes a day. I was like, I gotta be doing strength every day, like moving my body, like sweating. It should be a hard workout. And obviously I've learned the importance of recovery through many things happening. So just moving my body every day. I do try to hit my strength training days, but like some days I just go for a walk. Yeah. Some days I'm doing some yoga now, some Pilates, a bike ride.
And I think that's like, it's such a key piece that I think even in everything you said still might get lost to listeners who are maybe new to a fitness journey or a health journey, that it's not about what it is you do, it's about how you can fit it into your
100%
life. Yeah. Because I hear that and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm someone who loves to sit down and meditate. Like that is where I recharge. If I can sit down for like 10-15 minutes some days and like literally just like have pure silence, maybe I hear the birds outside, that's how I recharge, and it feels so good. But that's me. And I'm not going to tell everyone to go and sit down for 10-15 minutes because Kelsey's doing that, so everyone must do that. We're all unique humans. And I think that's also what makes you such a good coach, is you know that, and you're not trying to push, you know, what works for you onto your clients. You see them all as individuals, as human beings, as unique breathing beings, right? So,
and I think people want to be told what to do because they don't want to have to think about it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we're all so different. Yes, we're all human, right? Like, we're all humans. We have noses and eyes, and we're all going to die. Like, we, you know, yes, there's that. But like, in terms of what makes us feel good and how our bodies respond to different things is so different just based off each of us and our genetic fingerprint and all of that, right? So teaching our clients are just learning to be your own detective and knowing just as much as you can about your body and listening to the feedback your body's giving you physically, mentally, being in tune with that is going to be one of the greatest things you can do for yourself, because then you're actually learning you, and no one knows you best than yourself. And I always tell my clients, you're the driver, I'm in the passenger seat, I'm supporting you, I'm giving you tools and information if you choose to use it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's up to you, and it's going to be based off what you learn and how you listen to your body and asking these important questions. But you're driving your own life, and you know what's best for yourself. No one else knows better than you. Yeah. And we forget that. We want people telling us. But I don't know what's good for you. No. You don't know what's best for me.
No, it's literally like anytime I teach a yoga class, I try to give that as a prompt that's like, listen to my cues as guidance. But like if we're in a lunge and you're like about to die or like tear your MCL or ACL, don't do the lunge. Like I feel like that's the easiest, I guess, metaphor I can think of.
So
like
tearing your ligaments.
Learning how to listen to your body, which I think is hard for people because you're right. We've been told from the beginning what to do, but I think that also ties into just the fact that you are a business owner and entrepreneur. You didn't take that path of, okay, I go to school and I get a job and I work this job and then I, retire at whatever age. You took that path less traveled. So just that kind of coexists or is congruent with the fact that you know how to listen to your body and you know that, where many people, they might not. But that's why we coach, because people need.
But also, honesty, I'm still learning this, and don't get it wrong here. There's many times I'll ignore what my body's telling me, or I choose not to listen. It is a choice to listen to your body. And the times I've ignored, when your body is whispering things to you, and you don't listen, it's going to eventually start screaming at you. And that's why I've had injuries or burnout, and these things have happened because I choose to ignore what my body, because your body is so smart. It's going to give you the signs and the symptoms. And when you choose to ignore that, it'll eventually catch up to you. And it's way harder to get out of that than if you were to just listen to it in the first place. So I'm still learning, but I'm getting better at learning my body and what it needs, and my mind and my brain.
Yeah.
It takes time.
It does take time. Isn't that crazy? That we just like don't know how to listen.
It's scary. I think even just sitting with yourself and being alone is so uncomfortable for a lot of people. And like taking that time, I think because we're so used to, like that, like I said, overstimulation, our phones are at our fingertips. We are constantly can watch videos and have all this information within seconds. So now we're listening constantly of what other people are telling us to do. And those people are listening to what other people told them to do. And it's just like a constant, we're passing it from one thing to the next, instead of just sitting down and asking, what should I do? Asking ourselves, where it's like, we're our greatest tool. Like we know.
We're all knowing.
We know.
At the end of it, yeah. I mean, that might be a yogic belief from me, but I do believe we are all knowing. And when you can slow down and really like tune into it and block out the noise, because there's so much noise, there's so much advice that's advice based off of usually the person's circumstance, not your circumstance. Yes, they might have your best interests, but at the end of it, can you listen to you? We just got deep.
So deep.
Okay, I feel like this is a good question on like connecting to yourself and not really listening to your body to the point where maybe you burn yourself out. I struggle with this too, and I think a lot of business owners, especially business owners in the wellness space, do. Navigating that line between I'm being ambitious, I'm driven, and I'm burning myself out. How do you do that?
Yeah, I think, again, this is something I said I've learned too many times. I've been burnt out a couple times in my life. And like I said, your body will let you know. And it's if you listen to it or not. And I think when you own a business, it can be so hard to sit down and listen and give your body and mind what it needs, because you're like, I gotta keep going. Like at the beginning of my business, I was the only coach. So every day I had to show up and I needed to motivate people whether I felt like shit or not. In my mind, I thought I didn't have a choice. So like I would ignore everything when I was exhausted and irritable and low energy and not feeling well, but I would turn that off and just keep pushing through, which eventually would lead to burnout, and it's so much harder to bounce back. So a couple things I've learned. Number one, I would say, is setting boundaries in our hustle. And what I mean by that is non-negotiables. And I do this with my clients too. What are your non-negotiables every single week that you have to do that no matter what? Like you say you have 3 non-negotiables, and no matter what, like these things are happening, and that may mean saying no to a lot of things. I've gotten so much better at that. I was so uncomfortable saying no to people and saying no to events and hangouts, because I love my friends and family and social things, and being in that business community, there's a lot of events and things going on all the time. But we can only take in so much, and it's knowing your line of when do I need to recharge. And even though I'm such a people person, I recharge by being alone or like one-on-one connection, but not like in groups of people. That's just not how I recharge. So setting those boundaries and those non-negotiables, like for me, for example, my bedtime's 11 o'clock and that's non-negotiable. So I might sound boring now, but when I go out, I'm like, okay, it's approaching 11. I gotta go home and I gotta go to bed because I know how important my sleep is for my well-being. I've seen the impact of not having proper, consistent sleep of what that's had on my life. So that's huge for me.
I've seen you there too.
You've seen me there.
I think we both had those weeks.
We all need it.
Are you okay?
No. And we'll straight up be
not,
like, do you want the real answer?
We're not going to go near a bridge today.
We're not going near a bridge because we might bark a little too loud today. We might scream a little too loud.
Yeah.
So setting those non-negotiables, and those are different for everyone. Like another one for me is moving my body every day, and I will schedule it in like as a doctor's appointment. So if a client wants to work with me or change something, I am like, that time is blocked off, and I don't need to tell anyone why, but that's my time for me to move my body because that's a non-negotiable. And yes, I have many more non-negotiables, but it's figuring out what those are and making sure you're doing those things, whether it's every day or every week. And that might be saying no to social commitments. I try to now be mindful. Instead of packing in 5 social commitments in a week or 5 events, I say yes to one, and then everyone else I say, I'll let you know, instead of committing, because when I commit, I do it.
Yeah.
So now I'm so careful with my words and my language of saying yes, because I want to see how I feel that day, and I don't want to force myself when my body and my brain is telling me you just need to be alone today.
I love that. I think that's like something that I feel like many people, but myself too, trying to get better at is kind of trusting that your friends and the social things, they're always going to be there, but your health and your well-being, like sometimes that's just in the now. That's not something that's like, oh, it's another body waiting for me next Saturday. Like your body is today, right now. And so being able to look at social things, because there's always social stuff.
There's always going to be stuff going on.
All that you know about it. And you could usually let them know the day of, and they'll be like, sweet, yeah, come.
And it's so much different to tell that person, like, I'll let you know, instead of being, yes, I'm coming, but then you don't show up, or you go and you just feel absolutely horrible.
Well,
I want to show up.
Yeah.
I want to show up 100%, like as best as I can. And if I know that day I need to be on my own or doing something else, I don't want to have committed to that.
Yeah, because then that's your word.
Yes.
And I think
that's huge for
I
me.
know you and myself too, the power of your words, saying you're going to do something. If your actions don't follow, it's not only the cost to yourself, you feel bad, but then other people who feel like maybe they can't rely on you, depending on what that level of commitment was. Of course, there's moments where it's like, hey, I said but this life thing happened. And usually the right people understand.
Of course. They're still going to love you. The right people will still love you and understand. Another thing I think that I wasn't doing enough, and I'm trying to do more, and I do this with my clients, is our weekly wins. And as a business owner, I think you can get so caught up in the next big thing. What's the next thing I'm working towards? And then you don't even sit and acknowledge what you did. And then you're constantly feeling this lack of like not being satisfied, because you're like, well, now I'm just chasing the next thing. And this could be in anything in life. It doesn't have to be in running a business. But then you're not like really like enjoying it and feeling satisfied and sitting with it and be like, well, look what I did. And just being there versus being like, okay, done, now move on to the next. So like acknowledging your wins, and no matter how small, it could be the smallest thing. I always ask my clients every single week, give me at least a minimum of 3 wins. You definitely had a minimum of 3 wins this week. And it makes you feel better overall and like more excited and more satisfied.
Yeah, because that's back to what you focus on grows. And if you're not looking at what you're doing well, because there's always things, if you're just like, oh no, not enough, then yes, you might be building and moving forward, but you're kind of building on this foundation of scarcity almost, because it was never enough. It was never good enough. You're always
100%.
seeking something better.
Yeah.
So I love that.
And that can also be in like a fitness journey too, right? Of like, I need to get the 6-pack abs, or like I need to be this certain weight or do this many push-ups. And then you're like never sitting with it and being proud of yourself. You're always like working towards the next thing and burning yourself out. So yeah, just being proud of ourselves, because guess what? We're damn amazing. All of us are great. We gotta be proud of ourselves and what we're doing. We're doing the best we can.
We are doing the absolute best we can. Oh, okay, love it. Let's scoot our conversation.
Scoot it.
We've talked a little bit about like your personal journey with Inside Out and growing it, and some of the challenges that you've navigated, how you honor yourself and your well-being. How would you say you help support your clients, or what would you give to anyone listening to help build those sustainable habits for their wellness, their well-being, beyond just going to the gym?
Yes, I love that. I think like a huge thing I would start with, or I say with my clients, is like, start with what you have right now and where you're at. So meet yourself where you're at today. Because I think a lot of times people come in and they're like thinking about where they were 10 years ago before they had kids, or like a crazy job or whatever, right? Like they're always reflecting on like that past time. I used to go to the gym 6 days a week. So now I'm going to go to this gym 6 days again. So meeting yourself where you're at right now, and this always changes, right? Our life is constantly changing. So this shifts. So I think a big thing, I always like laugh with clients. I'm like, I always feel like sometimes our eyes are bigger than our stomach. You ever go to a buffet and like, I load the plate up, and usually I can eat it all, but I feel pretty sick. But like what I'm saying is we usually think we can eat more than like our body can actually handle or digest. So what I'm saying is I'll get a lot of people coming in being like, I want to work out 6 days a week. I want to hit my protein, hit my fiber, get my water intake, nutrient timing, meal timing, sleep this much, blah, blah, blah. Like there's like a list of 30 things they think they need to do like right now. And we'll be like, whoa, like let's take a step back. Because again, this is like social media and everyone around us telling us all the things we need to do to feel good. Isn't that just so funny if you think about it? And I'll just be like, hey, let's sit down and like, what are you currently doing right now? And what is one thing, if you were to change one thing right now, and it doesn't have to be complicated, that would make a difference in your life, what could we add in? And some of my clients that's starting, I know it sounds simple, or you're like, that's boring, but walking, stepping, getting outside, moving. Say you're walking, you're tracking and you're walking 3K steps a day. Can we go for 4? For the next week, can we get 4K steps?
Get your steps.
Yeah, get your steps in. Water, same thing. Protein. It's like, could we just focus on one thing right now and add in a little bit more? For some people, it's sleep. Like, if your sleep is not good, that should be your number one.
It doesn't matter.
That's one thing I can tell you. Focus on your sleep first, because that is like the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I like figured out my sleep schedule. Like everything changes. And something really cool I learned, I want to put this out here, is the amount of hours we sleep. I thought it was really interesting because like I feel like it's sometimes your brain, you think more of something is better. So more working out is better, more eating salad is better, more sleep is better. But there was a study done that actually showed, so this like for adults, so like over the age of 18, they were studying a bunch of us adults of like, what is the perfect amount of sleep to like feel optimal and to feel the best and also live a longer life and better quality life. And long story short, so they were saying anywhere under that 8-hour mark, like the longevity of life decreased, but anywhere over 9 hours decreased even more than sleeping less. So if you're oversleeping, being also mindful of that. You could also be sleeping too much, and that could also be more like a mental health thing too, right? Like something else is going on. Maybe you're just exhausted in the day, like you're doing way too much and your body's telling you that like you need to slow down because you're feeling like you need 10 hours of sleep a day. Do you ever like sleep 10 hours or 11 hours, you wake up and you're so tired?
Awful.
And so I was thinking that I needed to be sleeping 10 hours and I would wake up feeling exhausted. And now I shifted it, so I do 11 to 7 a.m., like 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., and I try to consistently hit that 8 hours, and I feel so good. And it's so funny because even if I go 8.5, I feel groggy. Or less. So like finding that, but being consistent like with your workouts, same thing with your sleep. You need to do that, and it's so important.
Consistency.
That's everything.
Consistency is the key. Yeah, it doesn't matter like what it is you're doing. You could even look at that on the total opposite end of the spectrum. If you're consistently, I don't know, sitting on your butt playing video games, that will compound over time too.
100%.
Just like drinking your water every day and sleeping every day and exercising however many times per week. It's the consistency. So I like that with the sleep.
But yeah, sleep, I would say, like, if your sleep is not dialed in, focus on that first.
Yeah.
But then just the little foundational, like, just the simple habits, like, start with one thing, and then that's where we habit stack or build. And that's where I've seen people be the most successful. They come to me, they want to start working out. Sometimes we start with one strength training day a week. I'm like, okay, let me see you do this for 4 weeks. And after you hit 4 weeks, we can talk about adding another day, because they get so excited. That's like your New Year's resolution. I'm going to work out every day. And then guess what? 2 weeks in, you're like, this is not sustainable. I'm exhausted. And then you feel horrible because you only went 3 days and not 6 days a week. So the sense of satisfaction that we get, an accomplishment, if we set up for 1 day a week and we hit that 1 day a week, we're going to feel good. We're going to feel motivated. We're going to want to keep going versus if we fall short.
Yeah.
So start small. It doesn't need to be complicated. Think steps, water, your food, obviously fuel, protein, your sleep, sunshine, connection, like just like these basic habits. Don't get so caught up in like, these things can come if you choose, but like your supplements and nutrient timing and ice baths and red light therapy, like don't worry about that.
Social media it's wrecking so many of us, because that's what people see. They see the stuff that's clickbait.
Yeah.
And
it's so funny because all clients go to me like, so how often should I be doing ice baths? And I'm like, so did you drink any water today? No. So why are you even asking me about
ice bath? Yeah.
Did you sleep?
And that's literally, it's what it is. It's marketing game. It's clickbait. It's what's going to get people to follow me. But I think, Marie, you said it so well. Like, go back to the basics. Go back to the simple stuff. Are you sleeping? Are you walking? Are you drinking water? Like the very, very basic things. Social connection too, which I love and could talk about like all day. We lost that for so long with how we started this, the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so if you're still in that too, like I'm just going to even throw in my own tip and advice. You have to, if it's uncomfortable to go out and connect with people, I think that's the type of discomfort that I would say you have to lean into. Because yes, you could be working out, you could be, drinking enough water, doing all of these things. But if you're not connecting with humans, if you're behind a screen all day, if your social life is zero and you created a story now in your mind of like, well, I'm just an introvert. Humans need humans. There's a reason there's 8 billion of us.
and it's the beautiful thing is there's so many groups and so many things you can join in the city and anywhere you go, whether it's, I don't know, knitting groups, running groups, fitness classes, who doesn't want to knit, art classes, whatever. There's so much out there if you just look online or talk to people. Something that you enjoy, a hobby, that let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of other people who enjoy the same thing, and then you can meet those like-minded people, even if it's once a week. Just getting that social interaction,
just like one step,
so that we're not just robots and we forget how to talk to people.
Yeah. Or you could just go on ChatGPT and date AI, but I would not recommend.
Yeah, that's scary.
It is scary. Okay. Well, thank you for those tips. I think those are very helpful, and I'm sure someone listening will take something from it.
I hope so.
Which, even if it's just one thing, is sleep. Like, sleep is so huge. Yes. If you're not rested and recovered, how can you do the other things? Really, that's something I've learned in my own journey as well. I'd like to wrap up.
We didn't even get a body break.
I know. We'll dance.
We should go Dancing with the Stars. I guess we're not a star, but actually we aren't. We're stars.
We're stars. We're superstars. If you're not watching this as a video, we're just like dancing, and we look really great doing it. This is how we dance when we go to the
like to clap our feet.
We'll wrap up with some rapid fire questions because
boop boop boop.
Let's move quick. Even though I feel like we've been moving really quick, maybe just like chit chat yapping. There's a few things that are going to be extremely random.
Let's be serious while we answer these.
Very random and important for the audience listening. You ready? Okay. First question. If the color purple did not exist.
There's no...
If the color purple did not exist and you knew about it though, but you woke up the next day and they completely, whoever they are, they got rid of it, what would be your next favorite color?
They got rid of purple? I would move to Mars. But you know what? Maybe Blue, because it's close to purple.
Blue. Okay.
It's in the same family.
I like blue. I'm wearing
Yeah,
blue
it's
today.
it's a nice color, but like, don't even, that's a nightmare. Don't even say that.
Purple Merple.
Read the book, read it.
How do you define success?
I feel like just like, maybe this sounds so simple, but just feeling like proud and happy with where you are. Like just feeling good about where you are. Like, because again, I think it's something you can always be chasing of like, I made it. But I think just like every day, if you're like, I'm feeling good about like my well-being and like the people in my life and like where I'm at, I think that is success. And that you're working towards something bigger that like you enjoy, but you're enjoying the journey. Like to me, that's success. I don't think success is like when, you know, my business makes this much money or when like I get this house or this car. Like I think it's just feeling really happy in the life we're in. And to me, that's success. And feeling healthy and happy and with people you love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Love that. If there is one thing that maybe you weren't able to share today, but you feel like people really need to hear, what is that thing?
Couple things I'd probably say. I think number one is don't take life don't make life so complicated, right? Like just it's simple. Enjoy it, have fun. Again, I know there's, you know, hard things that come our way, but don't be afraid to laugh through it, to laugh through the mistakes, to be silly. I think another thing is never sacrifice your peace and your sense of well-being for something. So like protect your peace, because our peace is like the number one most important thing, and to be able to like give to other people or like build that business or whatever goals it is that you have, like you have to protect your peace in the process. So whether that's saying no and having those non-negotiables, like don't sacrifice your peace and well-being for something. It's not worth it. It's really not.
No, not at all. Well, those were our rapid fire, and they were super rapid, but
you're not even gonna ask me what my favorite animal is. There we go.
Final question. I think we all know what her favorite animal is. Cue the pig nose. If people want to find you or maybe come to your studio if they're local to Calgary.
Even if you're not local to Calgary, I highly recommend booking a ticket and coming here right now.
Hop on a plane.
I don't care where you are, just come. Inside Out Calgary is our Instagram and also our website too, www.insideoutcalgary.com, or you can come to our physical location. We have the strength studio and then we have the new Pilates and yoga studio. But go to our website or check us out on Inside Out Calgary.
Yeah.
Yes, can't wait to see you guys.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Health Chats. If you found it helpful, inspiring, or thought-provoking, please share it with a friend who might need to hear it too. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're ready to dive deeper into your own health journey, you can connect with me on Instagram at Kelsea Grieveson or visit my website ccoaching.ca. Until next time, take care of your body, protect your peace, and stay curious.